Store, Billy Store, Billy Store.
Hey everyone, Emma here, also known as eightvinyllow, bringing you all another video. Today's video is going to be part 1 of 2 of my St. Louis/Illinois vinyl record haul video. I know that it is long overdue. It has since been about a month and a half-ish since going to St. Louis with the youngest members of the VC and surrounding areas in Illinois. However, life just caught up to me and starting back up with work and teaching and all that, it's crazy. But that's besides the point. So today, part 1 of my record haul video. Just a quick reminder, I'm going to plug it. If you have not already gone to Dylan's channel over at the Record Spinner, he posted about a month or so ago the youngest members of the VC Take St. Louis documentary. So if you want to watch kind of all of the fun in, you know, the different record stores and the different things that we did acquiring these records that I'm going to showcase in these next couple of videos, make sure to go ahead and check that out. I will link it down below. It is just a fun music, or a fun video, I should say, of music, love, laughter, friendship. It's fun. So go check that out if you haven't already. If you did check it out, let me know in the comments below and, you know, share what you liked about the video and all that fun stuff. So again, today, part 1. I'm going to split this up because I picked up a handful of so many records, and I don't feel like having an hour-long video, and I don't think that you want to watch an hour-long video. So I figured for today's video, I will keep it strictly dedicated to Riverbend, one of my favorite record stores just ever in general. Billy and his wife did just a remarkable job with that store. So great selection, great atmosphere, great people. But yeah, you know, the majority of the records that I did buy, at least half of them, came from that store. We went there twice. That was our first stop on the way to St. Louis once everybody kind of came together. So we definitely did some damage on that first go around, and then we decided to go back and do some more damage a couple days later. So the second day for me was a little smaller stack wise, actually a lot smaller. But yeah, so anyway, I'll stop rambling. Here is part 1 of my St. Louis/Illinois vinyl record haul video, and this is my Riverbend Records vinyl haul. The first record that I grabbed in Riverbend is an album by an artist that I have been wanting to pick up and collect for a long time. This is John Prine's debut album from 1971. Amazing singer-songwriter from Illinois, and arguably his best album. This is a 2020 reissue on 180-gram vinyl. It includes the full lyric sheet, which I'll show here in a second, and original liner notes by Chris Christopherson. So you can see on the back there the liner notes. Of course, it comes on this red and green Atlantic label, and also came with the lyric sheet. The next record is the fabulous Johnny Cash. This was originally released in 1958 and was his first on Columbia Records post Sun Records, post his time there. And as you can see, this copy is on the Columbia 2i. So filling out my Johnny Cash collection. It's a never-ending rabbit hole with him, but I do really enjoy his stuff. And then the next one, speaking of his time at Columbia, this is The Sound of Johnny Cash. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember when this was released. Oh, 1962 this was released. Sound of Johnny Cash. And this one is on Columbia 6i. Next album is one of the best in terms of US punk rock releases. This is from 1977, originally released in 1977, arguably one of the best years in music. This is their debut album. I have the 2022 limited edition reissue, but we're talking about Dead Boys, Young, Loud, and Snotty. Again, a must-have if you are a huge punk rock person. Fantastic album. One of the top 10 punk albums according to Rolling Stone from the hype sticker I have here. This is sourced from the original master tapes and pressed at RTI for maximum fidelity on this limited edition clear with red high melt vinyl. And this is what the that record looks like. Really, really cool kind of splatter on this clear vinyl. This next album is from a band that I have been getting into recently. I saw them for the first time back in June, and I had went into that concert not really knowing a lot about them, but ever since then I have been, I was blown away by their performance and their musicianship, and I definitely jumped on this bandwagon. I picked up Sunvault. This is their debut 1995 album, Trace, probably the favorite among Sunvault enthusiasts and Uncle Tupelo and Wilco enthusiasts. It's just a fantastic album coming out of that alt country scene. But like I said, I saw them back in June. I think I mentioned it in a previous video, and I was just blown away by how much I enjoyed it. So I grabbed this one. Needed this for the collection for sure. This is a Music on Vinyl reissue from 2020. And you can see here is the record and the Warner Records label. Really, really awesome record, and plays as a Sunvault greatest hits. The next album was a recommendation from Brandon over at Mr. Hall of Fame, the OG of the VC. And when we were at Riverbend, Brandon was there. He joined us for some digging that day at some other stores too, which I'll mention in the next video. But I had asked Brandon for a recommendation. The last time I was at Riverbend, I asked Billy for a recommendation, and I ended up with Amigo the Devil, his most recent release, which was really, really good. And so I decided to go with Brandon this time and have him give me a recommendation. And he was kind of poking around the bins and things like that. And then he, really without hesitation, once he got to this section, pulled this album out and said that this is one of his top 5, I think, favorite releases from the last 20 years, which is a huge statement, loaded statement coming from the OG of the vinyl community. This is Jason Isbell's Southeastern. This was originally released in 2013. Singer-songwriters, part of this theme, I guess, of St. Louis for me, this kind of alt-country Americana theme. And I have to agree with Brandon that this is one of the best albums of the last 20 years. I don't know where I would rank it, but it definitely is up there as one of the best. Just like Brandon had told me, the songwriting on here, the lyrics, just unbelievable. The song Elephant just brings a tear to your eye when you listen. That's what he told me, and that's what ended up happening. Just so beautifully well put together. The lyrics just captivate you. I guess would be the best way to describe it. So if you haven't taken the time to listen to this album, I'm sure a lot of you have, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor and sit down with a favorite drink and chill out and relax and take in the words of Jason Isbell, because this is just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful album. I'll show you the record and the custom label real quickly. Here's the other side. And then it also came with an insert with, looks like just like a poster type deal on the front, and then the back has the lyrics. And totally recommend when you listen to this, you have this lyric sheet out and really take in the words coming out of your speakers. Just unbelievable. The last handful of records that I picked up from the first stop at Riverbend are what I referred to at this entire trip. You might have heard it a couple times in the documentary. I kept saying this: gap fillers. They're gap filler albums. My goal for this trip was to fill gaps in my collection with albums that I just continued to put off for years and years and years. And the main reason why I put these albums off is because they were albums that I would constantly see in a record store, so I didn't really feel the immediate need to grab these. But I finally settled down a little bit. I was focused, and I picked up a handful of albums that I needed in my collection. So the next two albums that I'm going to showcase are from a band that I didn't have any records from this band in my collection, and if you know my music taste, you're probably thinking, how? Finally picked up the Allman Brothers Band. This is Eat a Peach, and this is a 2021 reissue put out by Vinyl Lovers. This was the copy that Billy had at his store. It says limited edition of 500. Comes with the gatefold with an original insert, and then two heavy colored 180 gram vinyl that I'll show you here in a second that complement the colors of this cover. And it also includes 3 bonus tracks, One More Ride, Dreams, and Statesboro Blues. Vinyl Lovers, I feel like, is a hit or miss with sound. I thought that this was okay. It wasn't anything extravagant, but it definitely fills the gap in my collection, and it's kind of just a cool collector's piece, being that it's limited edition to these colors that I'll show you. So first album comes on this kind of baby blue wax, which is, like I said, it offsets this the cover, and then of course this light pink, which also plays in the color. So beautiful vinyl, and of course a fantastic album from a great band, Allman Brothers. Just an essential live blues rock album that, if you know me, how do I not have this? The Allman Brothers Live Fillmore East, finally have this in the collection, so there we go. Gatefold on the Mercury record label. So I seriously think I just paused for a second because I had to try to justify why I didn't have this album in my collection. To be honest, I don't have a great response. So, but I finally have it, so there's that. Another major gap filler, an album that I have been wanting in my collection for a while, David Bowie's Low, 1977. This particular reissue is from this year, earlier this year. This came out, the 45th anniversary edition on orange vinyl. So, very nice colored wax there, and came with this insert. Also finally added into my collection an album that is in my top 3 favorite albums from this band. This is the 40th anniversary reissue from 2015 on 180 gram vinyl. Again, in my top 3 from Led Zeppelin, this is Physical Graffiti. Finally have this in the collection. You've seen this a million times, but I will just show you that swan song label for the fun of it. The next 2 albums are part of the new releases by Abbey Road Studios, the half-speed mastered of a couple of Who albums. I picked up The Who, My Generation, filling out my Who collection finally with must-haves that I did not have, so I picked up the half-speed of My Generation. It, of course, came with the certificate, and here is the label. And then I also grabbed Tommy, which has the cool Obi strip on the side as well for these half-speed masters by Abbey Road. This sounds absolutely phenomenal. They both do, but this half-speed of Tommy is incredible. So if you need an upgraded copy, if you just want a really great sounding album, or copy I should say, of Tommy, this blew me away. And here is the label. The last album from the first stop at Riverbend was a must-grab for me, as well as all of the other youngest members of the VC. We ended up raiding Billy out by picking up, I think, every copy he had at least out in the shelves. Of course, we had to grab Billy's album, Small Town Fool. This is the 20th anniversary special edition. Originally came out in 1977. That was the year that I was born. So this is the 20th anniversary edition from 2017. And of course, we had to have Billy sign it. So we all ended up picking this up, which you can actually watch Billy sign our albums in the documentary. I'm going to keep plugging that. And then I'll show you the really cool kind of custom center labels. So, 2LP, really, really cool addition to the collection. The last three records that I'm going to show you are from our second trip to Riverbend. Like I mentioned, we ended up going back to spend more money at Billy's store because we love that store so much. So the first record that I ended up grabbing, I was eyeing this the first time there, but I had grabbed so many other records and we still had an entire trip to go that I ended up holding off, but second time there, I ended up picking this up. This is filling out more of my Lou Reed discography. I was missing this from the collection. This is Lou Reed, Street Hassle, his release from 1978. I really like this album. I really do like this particular release. After I picked this up, this was like the first time that I listened to this album in full, and I thought that it was well done. It's not one of my favorite Lou Reeds by any means, but I did enjoy that more than I thought that I would. There's the label. This next album was a recommendation from Marican and Jared. Marican had, when we went back to Riverbend for the second time, she had mentioned that she wanted recommendations from everybody to kind of pick up while we were there, and so I ended up doing the same thing and having Marican then choose a record for me to pick up. And the theme, you know, when the youngest members of the VC, when we went to Nashville, I think our big music theme was Johnny Cash. That was our theme. We listened to Johnny Cash. We obviously went to the museum. But I would say that the theme this trip, the music theme for the St. Louis and Illinois trip, was metal music. And I don't know, I mean, that is probably the genre that I know least about. Obviously, I know bands, I know names, I know some songs, but I don't know a lot about just metal. And we listened to a lot of Iron Maiden, we listened to a lot of Metallica, we listened to a lot of Judas Priest, probably a handful of other artists and bands that I can't think of off the top of my head and or don't know. But this was a band that we listened to a lot, and a band I obviously know, and an album that I am very familiar with. But I don't necessarily gravitate towards picking these albums up, but I'm kind of happy I did, because I listened to this a couple of times since picking it up, and obviously on vinyl you enjoy the music a little bit more, and I did enjoy it. So Metallica, Master of Puppets, of course, this is big with the Stranger Things craze, but I picked it up as a recommendation from Marican. So, and again, I'm familiar with this. I've heard it before, but it's nice to have this on vinyl. So thank you, Marican, for the recommendation. It also came with this insert here, and I'll show you the label. The last album that I picked up at Riverbend is also an album that Jenna over at Spins and Needles ended up grabbing. This is from 1980, a band from Wisconsin, a great album, and this particular release sounds amazing. It's put out by Kraft, so you know that it's going to be great. Violent Femmes debut album from 1980. Of course, with the song Blister in the Sun, probably the biggest song off of this album, and by the band themselves. It's the custom inner sleeve, and then the label with the Kraft recordings right on it. That's going to wrap up my part one of the St. Louis/Illinois vinyl record haul video. Riverbend Records, like I said, this is where I picked up about half of my my overall pickups from this trip. It's one of my favorite stores, as I mentioned kind of earlier in this video. The vibe is awesome, just the selection's great, Billy's amazing, Brandon's amazing, everybody that works there is amazing, so I cannot recommend it enough. If you ever find yourself in Illinois, St. Louis area, Godfrey, Illinois, check out Riverbend Records. But with that, everybody, that is it for this video. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll showcase my pickups from when we were actually in St. Louis, the handful of stores that were there. Also, let me know down below what you thought about the records that I picked up in this haul, and I will leave you all with that. I hope that all of you are doing well, and I will see you all for my next video. Bye, guys.